Hey guys, I'm Justin with Legato Financial Group. Our firm is passionate about helping educate consumers, which is why we're powering the Gaining Interest podcast. The podcast of quick conversations with industry experts on topics that you want to know about, from sports to dining to healthcare and automotive, and really everything in between. It's hosted by one of the greatest local personalities that I've met, that's John Ramsey.
I'll tell you why I love this podcast, because it's all about community. We used to call it water cooler talk, and that no longer exists. But if it's interesting to you, it's interesting to us. We encourage you to tell your friends. As Justin mentioned, we're going to talk about everything under the sun. We will be gaining interest, and we appreciate you watching. Welcome into Gaining Interest, a podcast that is about all things interesting, powered by Legato Financial Group. I think we can all agree that when we see an eagle or a hawk or a falcon in the air, there's something majestic about it, something magical. There's a connection there. They are a symbol of strength. They're also a symbol of our country, patriotism, all kinds of history when you talk about raptors. And I'm going to talk to a man now who knows all things raptor, because he is the president of the board of the Raptor Rehabilitation of Kentucky, right?
Perfect.
All right. Oh, well, welcome in. This is Dave Dix, folks. And Dave, now you've been with Raptor Rehabilitation for how long?
This is my ninth year with Raptor Rehabilitation.
Yes. What is it? I mentioned there is some, I don't know what, I can't define it. When I see an eagle soar or a falcon swoop down, there's something different than other birds. How do you articulate that?
Well, you know, birds of prey have fascinated humans for millennia. Going all the way back to the Stone Ages, to the Middle Ages, when people used falcons to help hunt for the food that they needed. And of course, no longer is that required. But now, here in Kentucky, we're lucky enough to have 7 different kinds of birds of prey. So those include hawks, owls, eagles, vultures, falcons, ospreys, and kites.
Before we get into exactly what you do at Raptor Rehabilitation, tell me a little bit about what government, I know there's some policies, some laws protecting raptors.
Sure.
Tell me about those, if you would, Dave.
So all of the raptors here in Kentucky are protected by the Migratory Bird Act. That's a federal statute enacted actually by Teddy Roosevelt. And what that does for us is it helps protect the birds from being used for keeping of parts and pieces. Back in the early 1900s, there was a big deal with fixators, and we appreciate that here in Kentucky. But they were using the bird feathers, and it was causing birds to go extinct because there were so many feathers being plucked and birds being killed specifically for their feathers.
And then hunting, poisoning.
Yes, sir. So now all birds are protected federally by the Migratory Bird Act as far as birds of prey go, and that allows us to be able to see these birds that you're talking about out in the wild, and seeing falcons do an amazing swoop, or noticing a bald eagle fly over. That's all because of the Migratory Bird Act.
And so I think, it seems to me, whenever I now go on trail walks here in Kentucky, it seems they're making somewhat of a comeback. I seem to spot them more often. Is that true, or is that my
No, it's 100% true with
I love
bald
hearing
eagles.
that.
Yeah, no, bald eagles, at our lowest point in the lower 48, we had 417 pairs of bald eagles in the entire lower 48 in 1969. That was directly attributed to DDT. What was happening, DDT was a great pesticide, farmers were using it, but it was making the eagle shells too soft to incubate. So mom would lay them, but when she would sit on them to try to keep them warm, they would crack and break, and they would never hatch. So DDT was banned, and in the late 80s and early 90s, they started captive breeding programs. Now, 2020 numbers, there's estimated to be over 320,000 bald eagles in the lower 48. And just in the last 10 years, those numbers have quadrupled. So we're seeing more and more bald eagles all over the place.
And I think a lot of that may be attributed to the work that you do.
Some of it, yes, sir, absolutely. What we see a lot, specifically with eagles, the biggest threat to eagles in Kentucky right now is actually lead poisoning. So what happens is, and I don't want anybody to misunderstand me, I am not anti-hunt at all. But what happens if somebody goes out and they're hunting something they're not going to keep, i.e. coyotes or raccoons, or I know we don't have a feral hog problem here in Kentucky very widespread like they do in Texas, but if you use a lead bullet at all, it only takes a piece of lead the size of a grain of rice to kill a bald eagle. So they eat whatever's left out there, and in doing so, they ingest a piece of lead. So about 95% of the bald eagles we get through our doors have lead poisoning, and almost 100% of the vultures we get through our doors have lead poisoning.
Wow. I wouldn't think that would be the typical situation. Are there cases now, or has the respect level and the understanding of the law, the awareness gone up so much that you don't see it? But do you still see birds that may have accidentally been shot or sadly purposely been shot, poisoned, maybe a car accident. What is another typical situation at Raptor
So,
Rehabilitation?
unfortunately, we are seeing birds that are being shot. There is a lot of folks that have chickens in their backyards, or they're keeping pigeons and doing those types of things. And a lot of times they see the hawks as a predator, and they may not be aware of the law, or they're simply trying to protect their livestock. But it is illegal to shoot and kill a hawk, and there are some great alternatives to trying to go out and shoot them. One alternative we make is, if your chicken coop has a power supply out there, you can get one of those wavy inflatable arm guys that you see at a used car lot. That works really well because it is unpredictable movement for the bird, and that will help protect your livestock or your chickens that you're trying to protect from hawk attacks. So that's one way. If you
Interesting.
don't have power out there, a very successful way to do that is actually using coyote decoys. And those two things will help reduce the amount of loss that you'll see from hawk attacks.
I'm amazed whenever I watch these wildlife films that we all see on television or on YouTube, whatever the case may be, at the strength of a bald eagle or any other type of eagle, red tail, or perhaps even a falcon, as far as they can pick up a small dog.
Well, it depends on the species. So generally, birds of prey can only carry about half their body weight.
Okay.
And a large red-tailed hawk here in Kentucky only weighs about 5 pounds. So a red-tailed hawk can only pick up something that weighs about 2.5 pounds or less. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean they can't kill a 6-pound chicken and eat it where it lies, but they generally can only carry about 2 to 2.5 pounds. A bald eagle here in Kentucky, a large bald eagle, weighs about 14 pounds. So they can carry something off that's about 7 pounds or less. The one that we really gets discounted a lot, but is actually the most powerful bird we have here in the state, is the great horned owl. The great horned owl weighs about 5 pounds, but can carry 3 times its body weight. So that means anything 15 pounds or less is on the menu for that bird.
So I've been asking you a lot of questions about
Sure.
these big raptors,
Yeah.
the hawks, the eagles, the falcons, but some are smaller. From what I understand, you brought a guest with you.
I did bring a guest today, yes. I brought an eastern screech owl that we can bring out and introduce you to.
I look forward to meeting her. So now we all get to meet Oracle. Oracle is, Dave, you told me a screech owl, correct?
Yes, sir. Eastern screech owl.
Eastern screech owl. Full grown?
Yes, sir. This is as big as they get. Oracle's actually 6 years old this year. She came to us as a chick with a right eye injury. That's why you can see when she turns her head, you'll be able to see the pupil sizes are different. What happened in Oracle's case is she was found as a young white fluffy chick out of the nest, which is very common. We're actually getting ready to enter baby season, so hopefully we can talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But Oracle, her finder, kept her for a few days trying to take care of herself, which is not what we recommend at all. That delayed eye care for the few days and actually caused her to lose vision in that right eye. So Oracle has been kept as an educational ambassador for us, and she pulls double duty as a foster mom as well. So when we get little Eastern screech owl chicks in, we can put her in with them, and Oracle will raise them.
Oracle seems to be very comfortable with you. Talk a little bit about that relationship between a bird of prey and a human.
So all of our educational birds do get handled relatively routinely, and they do have an opportunity to kind of be around folks a pretty good bit. Kentucky state law actually forbids the keeping of a bird that is imprinted, which is one of the reasons why we need finders to get the birds to us as soon as possible. As little as 1 or 2 improper feedings for a chick can actually cause an imprinting issue, meaning the bird no longer thinks it's a bird, it thinks it's a small human.
So although if you find a bird of prey and it's hurt, you think you're helping this bird, but the longer you keep it, the more it connects to you, and it makes it harder to release back in the wild, correct?
Absolutely, specifically with babies. And the babies that actually causes a psychological change in their brain, and it may preclude them from being released.
Is that the goal at Raptor Rehab? Is it to get them back in the wild, or some injured to the point to where you have to keep them?
So our goal is to get every bird that comes to us back out into the wild if possible. We have very strict both state and federal guidelines that we have to follow when we make the decision to take a bird that has been injured to become an educational bird. And those things are very stringent, and we have to follow them exactly, or we're going to lose our permits. Birds are a little tricky to fix. You might have heard before that bird bones are hollow. When you think about bird bones being hollow, don't think hollow like a straw. Think a straw full of cotton candy, or kind of like a piece of coral. It makes their bones very strong, very light, But when they break, they heal very quickly. A bird bone will heal completely in as little as 8 days.
Wow.
And we get one shot to get it fixed and get it lined up appropriately. For birds, everything has to be exact. Both wings have to work completely, both legs have to work completely. So unfortunately, occasionally we'll get a finder in that'll be like, well, I don't understand, why couldn't you just amputate a leg or amputate part of the wing and keep it as an educational bird? Well, any of those things that occur may cause long-term pain, and there's very specific guidelines we have to keep and we have to follow.
Relatable, kind of like when a horse hurts a leg.
Absolutely.
It's like they can't operate correctly, and it's not a meaningful life.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, what is Oracle's diet? What do you feed them?
So Oracle gets mice. At our facility, we feed one of 5 things to our birds. Mice is very common for a bird Oracle size. Just for scale, so you understand how much she weighs. She weighs about the same as a stick of butter. Now, in the wild, they're going to eat anything that is a half a stick of butter or smaller. So mice, moles, voles, cicadas were a big thing this past summer with the cicada eruption that we had. They'll eat large katydids, small insects, those types of things. Now, owls actually have a secret code in their eyes that will tell you what time of day or night they like to hunt. All owls in the entire world have eye colors that are one of 3. Yellow like Oracle, orange, we don't have any in the US that have orange eyes, or a dark brown. Now, if an owl has yellow or orange eyes, they either hunt during the day, diurnally, or at morning and dusk, which is called crepuscular. So they are low light hunters. If an owl has dark brown eyes, they're actually sound hunters, and they hunt in the middle of the night nocturnally. Easy to remember, the sun is orange and yellow, so if you see orange and yellow, they hunt with the sun up or the sun partially up. If they're brown, middle of the night, they hunt nocturnally.
Interesting. So talk about the importance of raptors when it comes to the entire ecosystem.
Oh my goodness. Raptors are amazing. Not only are they wonderful rodent control, which is what Oracle is so good at, just incredible rodent control. Without them, we would just be overrun with mice and moles and voles and chipmunks.
I don't think snakes.
Snakes as well. Now, these guys will eat little tiny snakes, but it is not uncommon for a red tail or a eagle or a great horned owl to swoop down and eat a snake. So that's very common as well. But probably the most important raptor to our environment is the vulture. Vultures are incredible, and they get a terrible rap because people think they're ugly. They don't have any feathers on their face because they stick their faces in some really gross places. And if they had feathers, then that fungus and bacteria and virus would get stuck in their eyes and their ears and can make them sick. But a vulture has such an incredible digestive system that if they eat something that has died because of rabies, the rabies vector ends right there.
So the decayed animal, vultures are taking care of that.
Yes,
They're
sir.
almost like a
Yes, sir.
I don't know, antibacteria animal.
They are, yeah. As a matter of fact, if something dies, we have this chronic wasting disease that we're starting to see a little bit in deer. You may have heard about that a little bit. If a vulture eats that, then that disease dies when the vulture eats it.
Interesting.
They have an incredible
New respect for
system.
vultures.
Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm curious about. We mentioned earlier in the podcast. We mentioned the fact that they're making a comeback. Raptors are making a comeback.
Yes.
Do you see that across the ecosystem in Kentucky and the state?
We do, yes, sir. Specifically with the eagles. The eagles are the most notable of that. You're starting to see eagles nest in a lot of places that you and I as kids never did. And the kids today are starting to see eagles. I mean, just in this last couple of months, Tiff and I live down in Elizabethtown, and we have seen in the wild about a half a dozen eagles just out flying around in the past month and a half, which is something we never saw, even as little as 10 years ago.
Yeah, I've been out on the river, and you see those big nests way up high. They seem to be eagles, bald eagles specifically, and I don't know if this is true of all raptors, very territorial. If another bird comes around, you can almost watch them swooping and keeping their area clear. Is that true?
Yes, so typically eagles, we have some eagles here in Kentucky that are migratory, some eagles that aren't. Migration for eagles has nothing to do with the temperature, has everything to do with food source. So if they have food during the winter, they will stay. If they don't, they may venture further south to find some more food. But eagles will generally stay within about a 4.5 to 5 mile radius of their nest.
Dave, you are really educational, a wealth of knowledge. Do you do at Raptor Rehabilitation of Kentucky, do you have schools that come in and you teach them about birds of prey?
We do. We actually offer two different 1 hour educational programs through our facility. One, we can come to schools. We do a lot of schools. We do a lot of retirement communities. We also do a lot of Cub Scout groups, youth groups for churches, and whoever would like us to come out and speak for a little bit. That generally entails us bringing 4 birds out, and you'll get a nice education. You might even get to meet Oracle. But we bring out different birds to come out and do that presentation.
So what is the expected outcome for Oracle? Because of the blind eye, this one will be, I'm assuming, living
with us. Yes, for the rest of her life, she'll live with us. So, but she doesn't seem to mind too much. She doesn't have to hunt a whole lot, and she gets a mouse a day, which is kind of our Oracle tax, if you will, that we pay. And
she's living the good life.
Yeah, she is. She is.
So tell me about some other birds that you have there, because Raptor Rehabilitation, and by the way, I think we probably should mention here on Gaining Interest, where are you located?
So currently we are located in the Butyl neighborhood here in Louisville. We've been there 36 years this year. This is our 36th year with Raptor Rehab. Give you an idea of the scope of that. That very first year, our founders, John and Eileen Wicker, started this facility out of their backyard, and they took in a total of 8 birds. In 2025, we took in 524 birds. So this is very exciting. I'm going to announce something here that you guys are the first to hear ever.
Love that.
We are in the process of beginning a fundraising campaign for relocation. We have outgrown our facility here in Butyl. We want to stay very much in Jefferson County, but that's going to be expensive for us to do. But there's several reasons why we want to stay here. One, we love the community. The community has been great to us over the years. 2, most of our volunteers are from right here in Louisville, and if we move out of Jefferson County specifically, then we're going to face a loss of those volunteers, their inability to drive to our new location. So it's really important for us to build a new facility here in Louisville that fits our needs. We have just simply outgrown our current facility size.
So Dave, we talk about Louisville being a compassionate city when it comes to humans, when it comes to raptors as well, right?
Yes, sir. Very much. Yeah. We love our raptors. And I mean, all it takes is going out to Cherokee Park or taking a chance to look up and look around. There are so many wonderful places that you can go and see raptors in the wild. Up and down the Ohio, Cherokee Park, like I mentioned. Cave Hill Cemetery has a robust population of birds out there as well. So there's 1,000 ways to see birds of prey out in the wild here in Louisville.
So how can people help? Is it obviously cash is king, but there are other ways they can help? Do you need volunteers, or what do you need, Dave?
We always need volunteers, in addition to donations. And there's some great ways that we can donate. Visit our website. We'll have those links available. But one of the cool things we do is we offer symbolic adoptions. So you could actually adopt Oracle. We would send you a certificate suitable for framing, showing, and you can brag to all your friends that you have this wonderful owl that is yours, and a picture suitable for framing as well. That's one thing that we offer. We have the programs that we spoke about, but we always need volunteers. We have 2 shifts a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year of volunteers. Can't feed the owls during the day, can't feed the hawks and the eagles at night.
She's beautiful.
Thank you.
What other birds of prey do you have there? Because I have a number of my nieces and nephews that would love to see these birds, and I'd love to take them. I would imagine it'd be quite an experience, educational and fascinating at the same time. What other birds are people able to see there?
So we have a bunch of different species. It's really a cross-section of what we have here in Kentucky. We have just about everything represented. So we have lots of different hawks. We have 4 different red-tailed hawks. We have a red-shouldered hawk. We have 2 turkey vultures. We have a bald eagle. We have Oracle and 3 of her similar species, eastern screech owls, that are educational birds. We have 2 different kinds of falcons at our facility. We have great horned owls. We have barred owls. We have a barn owl. And there are several ways that you can come out and visit our facility. The first is by sending us an email and requesting a tour date. We offer tours routinely, and that is one way to get to meet a lot of these owls. Additionally, in the spring each year, we have an open house. Just visit our website or follow us on social media to be able to get those dates. In the fall, we offer an annual Halloween experience where we focus
I love it.
specifically on our owls and our vultures, kind of our creepier species, if you will, to do with Halloween. And then generally in the beginning of December, we offer a Christmas shopping event as well. So you can come out and get some Raptor Rehab merchandise for somebody that has everything in their lives.
Dave, it's rare in the state of Kentucky that we spot a golden eagle. But from what I understand, there are more sightings, true?
Yes. So Goldens, so we are actually starting to see this year in particular, we've seen some footage from Kentucky Fish and Wildlife pertaining to golden eagles, not just coming to Bernheim, but at other parts within the state. I know for sure we had a confirmed golden eagle sighting out in Henry County. So it is starting to happen. That would generally be an indication, because we're on the very, very southern edge of the golden eagle's range. That would generally be an indication that they are looking for food. Just like we mentioned earlier with the migration, they're starting to explore further south looking for food.
As their habitat shrinks.
Yeah, potentially.
range
Or the other interesting thing is that birds of prey, the number of eggs they lay in a given year is directly proportional to the amount of food available. So what it means is last year when mom and dad had eggs, there was a lot of food. Well, this year there's not as much food, so having to venture further south to try to find that food.
Are the birds affected at all by global warming?
So there can be, specifically for the snowy owl as an example, or any of the more Arctic species, that can be a big deal for them. But again, we're starting to see some of them venture a little bit south too, because we had some snowy owl reports earlier this year as well.
On a personal note, you mentioned something before we got the cameras rolling here. You're a pilot.
I am.
So there is an association between their flight. It is kind of amazing, isn't it? As much as, I guess technology that's involved with what you do. And then you watch how a bird of prey makes it look so easy. It must amaze you.
They do. And all the things that I've learned since day one of flying, the birds do naturally. So using ground effect to their advantage, trading altitude for airspeed, trading airspeed for altitude, they'll do that naturally. And the other fun fact I'll leave you with for the day is the first airplane, when the Wright brothers built that, they studied birds for years leading up to that. The wing they copied was actually the turkey vulture. That was the wing that they studied and decided was the most efficient. So they used a Raptor when they tried to emulate that for the first airplane.
Interesting. So nature and technology can actually go hand in hand.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Wow. From what I understand, when John and Eileen began, there was a relationship with the Louisville Zoo. Is that correct?
There was early on, yes. But the zoo in the late 80s, early 90s made a decision to stop doing rehabilitation of local wildlife. And that's okay. They focused on the animals that need conservation there, and they've done a wonderful job at the zoo. But that is what really was the catalyst of John and Eileen starting Raptor Rehab. And here we are all these years later, taking in 500 plus birds a year.
So where do you gain your funding? Obviously, individuals, businesses would like to give, but are you federally funded at all, state funded?
So we are required to be licensed by both the state and the federal government. We get funding from neither. So all of our donations, all of our funding comes from either private donation or grants, mostly from private donations.
So website.
Yes, absolutely. Visit us, raptorrehab.org. We'll have a link up for that, I'm sure. But that is a great way to do it. And of course, as a 501c3, everything should be deductible.
Dave, if I'm not mistaken, I hear her, Oracle, it's like a purr, a little bit, or maybe a growl. What is that?
So Eastern screech owls can actually, there she is right there. They make about 22 or 23 different vocalizations. They have a trilling, and that's what you're hearing. That's just her kind of communicating a little bit. I don't think she's very uncomfortable. The easiest way to tell if a screech owl is uncomfortable are actually those feathers on top of her head. New word of the day, plumicorn is what those feathers are called. And they act just like our eyebrows. They will show expression like our eyebrows. So if they're up, she's very comfortable. If they were to go down and slick back, she would be very mad. But that trilling you're hearing is just her chatting a little bit. They can sound like a spaceship, and when they're really mad is when they will screech. But generally that trilling is just kind of a content, happy sound for her.
Oracle seems to be very friendly, but I'm curious, I have to ask this, because I've seen some of these larger birds, the eagles and the red-tailed hawks that you mentioned, even a big barn owl, huge. Are they aggressive at all? Because you see the talons and the beaks. Can they be aggressive if they're afraid, or? So
they can be. But that actually leads us very nicely into what to do if you found an injured bird.
There we go.
So if you have found an injured bird of prey, if you Google that, we're going to be the one that comes up, which is great because we're licensed to do that. And that's what we do every day. How we recommend safely containing the bird, which can be very scary, is simply taking a towel and draping it over the bird. Birds, like horses, go into sensory deprivation when their eyes are covered. And so you drape the towel over the bird. You can pick it up two-handed like you would a football off the ground. Place it in a cardboard box. We recommend a cardboard box. A lot of folks want to use a dog kennel or a dog crate, which sounds like a great idea, But if that bird starts to turn around in that dog crate and catches its feather in those metal rings, it can actually break their feathers and extend the rehab process much, much longer. So we recommend a cardboard box. Once the bird's contained, it's really important not to give it anything to eat or drink. We don't know what's going on internally. If it's been hit by a vehicle, it could have internal trauma. If it has been starving, we don't want to overfeed it too much right away. So we have some very specific treatment methods that we use to get those birds healthy again. But give us a call. We'll give you our address. You can come out, drop the bird off. We'll take it. And if the bird is able to be released, we will bring it right back to your facility, wherever it was found, and release it. And we'll call you before then.
I would think, Dave, for you and the staff at Raptor Rehab, it has to be very rewarding when you have an injured bird, obviously in a lot of trauma, and the day you release it. Tell me about that experience. I would think that would make you feel like, okay, I'm doing something really worthwhile here.
Yes, absolutely. So it's pretty incredible when you have a bird come in on death's doorstep and you've nursed it back and you've watched it gain strength, and then you're able to get it back out. These birds are a lot smarter than folks think they are. I can think of a couple of experiences right off the top of my head where I took a bird back within a couple of 100 yards of where it was found, and I have no doubt in my mind that bird knew where it was. It took off, it flew to its favorite tree, landed on it, fluffed all its feathers out, and you could just see a visible sense of peace come over the bird as if, hey, I'm home.
Do you think that's instinctual, or there is a real intelligence there?
I think there's a real intelligence. Birds, specifically vultures, again, I know I've talked about them a little bit, but they're very, very intelligent. As far as the birds getting used to us, I know you had asked a little bit earlier about that. It is, it's like training a dog times 100. The consistency that you have to have, the patience that you have to have, the amount of time that it takes to sit down with a bird and get them this comfortable. We generally start with actually reading children's stories to them. So you may actually get a book out and just sit there, just get used to your voice and be able to sit somewhere like this.
Yeah, the tone of your voice, I think, is important. It seems that Oracle really likes it. Are they affectionate at all, or am I stretching it here?
That's a little bit of a stretch. They're not like dogs and cats. They don't enjoy being touched the way that our dogs and cats do. And actually, the oils on our hands can damage their feathers over time. So they don't enjoy that. But they're very tolerant. And as much as she can, this is what we ask of them, to stand very peacefully and comfortably on the glove.
She's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't mean to be repetitive, but I think it's important. Once again, thank you for watching Gaining Interest. And Dave Dix, if you would, tell folks again, if they'd like to come in and visit and maybe have a tour, and B, how can they give? Because I know there's people who really love not only wildlife, but raptors, birds of prey in particular.
So, send us an email. That's the easiest way to get a tour scheduled. Tiffany, our operations manager, will answer those emails as soon as she can, get you a date, let you choose from a couple of dates, come out. That's an hour-long tour. We don't charge for that. We simply ask for donations, but it is an amazing way to be able to come out and see the birds up close, specifically owls. Owls are really kind of hard to see in the wild because they're mostly out at night, and it's a little bit harder to do. But you'll get a chance to see them. So that's one wonderful way to come out and see us, or come out for an open house, come out for our Halloween, all different ways to do that. As far as donating goes, we have links on our website. You can do that, or if you want to contact us and let us know that you want to do that, we'll give you the address. You can mail us a check. That way we don't lose anything on the transfer, because most of those agencies charge a couple % if you donate online. But that's one way. Adoptions are another way. If you really want to know where your money goes, we have an Amazon wish list. You order something on Amazon, it gets delivered to us. That's all part of the way that we can do that for total transparency. We don't make any money off of this. I do not take any money from Raptor Rehab. This is all volunteer based.
You and your team are doing God's work. And Oracle is absolutely beautiful. Again, Raptor Rehab of Kentucky. Dave Dix is here with us. And please go to the website, give generously, and better yet, make a visit out there. Bring the kiddos. I'm sure they will love it. Once again, thank you for watching Gaining Interest, powered by Legato Financial Group. We'll see you next time.